Hi, this is Malachi.
And Christine.
Thank you so much for tuning into our show tonight. We have an awesome show just for you, and you. Be sure to share this podcast with your friends and your family. We know they'll be blessed as well. And without any further ado, here's tonight's podcast.
Welcome to the Malachi and Christine Show. Get ready to hear uplifting and empowering topics, as well as soul-stirring Christian music to get you through your week. Right here on the Malachi and Christine Show. Our mission is to help others live, hope, and change using God's Word as our foundation. The Bible says in John chapter 15, verse 7, "If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you." Our mission scripture is found in Luke chapter 4, verses 18 and 19. And now, here are your hosts, Malachi and Christine.
Hey guys, it's Malachi. I'm sad tonight because my wife is unable to be with me in the studio because of her schedule, which is disheartening because I know she would have some awesome takes on this particular topic. Thank you guys for coming in to the Malachi and Christine Show. We have an awesome show for you tonight. So sit back, relax, get your pen and papers, take some dubious notes. If you have any questions in regards to our topic tonight or some of the upcoming podcasts that we're going to be talking about as far as relationships and dealing with betrayal and cheating within the marriage, you can contact us on Facebook at the Malachi and Christine Show, or you can email us at lifeswordministry@gmail.com, because I already know that this is going to turn into a series because it's such a much needed discussion when we deal with relationships, marriages. And tonight's topic is why married men really cheat. And we're going to discuss this in as much detail as we can. Now, with that being said, here is my opening disclaimer on this topic. I am not a licensed therapist, and what you will hear on tonight's podcast will be that of my own personal opinion, because my master's degree is in Christian studies with an emphasis in leadership. But as a pastor and minister of the gospel, it is my spiritual duty to share some biblical truths along with some biblical principles on this topic. Now, with that being said, let me start by saying this. No matter what the reason is behind someone cheating, cheating is horribly wrong. Should I say that again? No matter what the reason is behind someone cheating, cheating is horribly wrong. I don't care what you're going through or what your feelings are. Cheating should never be the cure-all to a bad relationship status. It is not the logical solution for issues related to problems within the marriage. And it should never be an option. And I speak from experience, because over my life, I've been involved in some not so good relationships, and a couple of them resulted in me cheating. See, I can tell off on myself, because as I tell off on myself, it allows others to know that I am not perfect, and I try to be transparent. And it's a healing process when you're able to share what you've gone through and what God has helped you overcome. And I'm sure, just like everyone else out there, and you want to know why, what was it that drove me to cheat? Well, there are several reasons as to why. But there is really only one bona fide correct answer to why I cheated and why so many other men and women cheat on their spouses. And I'm going to share much of that with you right after this. Welcome back. This is the Malachi and Christine Show. I'm your host, Malachi, and I am in the studio alone. I am a solo tonight because my wife, Christine, had to work. So you got to bear with me. You got to indulge me. I'm going to get through this the best way I can without my other half of the Malachi and Christine Show. So tonight's episode is Why Married Men Really Cheat. You know, I wanted to get a feel as to how others felt about this topic while I was preparing for this podcast. So I went to social media like any good radio host would do, and I posted a question on our Facebook page, the Malachi and Christine Show. I asked, why do you think married men cheat on their wives? Crickets. The silence was deafening. I had one person who was a friend of mine commented, and I can always count on her to chime in on a particular subject. Now, she had some really good answers, but to not have any other comments is truly amazing to me. But after a few days of it being posted, I started getting new responses and new replies. And I told my friend that if this was an episode of Housewives of California, Housewives of Georgia, Housewives of Alabama, the responses would be through the roof. It's amazing that when it's about drama, people will chime in immediately. People love drama for some reason. But when it's a topic on something that's wholesome, that's biblical, spiritual, oh, you get the crickets. Nobody responds. It's amazing. Maybe it's a topic that's too sensitive for people today. Maybe that's it. After all, men and women both cheat. And just because I started with the men don't mean you're going to get off that easy, women, because in the following weeks, if time permits, we will be discussing why married women cheat on their husbands. This is an equal opportunity show, folks, because this topic is worthy of a series. It's worthy of conversation because people are hurting because they've been betrayed within their relationship just because someone cheated. People talk about being tempted and how easy it is for a man to be tempted, as if women don't get tempted. And we all know that's incorrect because we are all human beings and species that tend to be drawn to by the opposite sex. And at least I hope and pray it's the opposite sex and not the same sex drawing you. We're going to put a pin right there. That's a topic for another podcast. But here's something that I'm reminded of. What makes you think you can't be tempted, I'm asked. And I say, not a thing. Other than my willingness to obey God. And then I hear, well, you cheated before. How do you know you won't cheat again? As a man in fleshy clothes? I don't know. Nothing is guaranteed. The only guarantee we have in life is death. The fact that one should learn from their past failures should be enough. But because we are creatures of habit, many fall into the same temptations because they have not completely been delivered from that vice. And before I go any further, please know that I've been completely delivered from that vice and living with my purpose partner right now. Yeah, it was one of my vices. And if you don't know what a purpose partner is, you need to find out, because we need a purpose partner, a partner that is going to walk in purpose with us. It seems to me that one of the most difficult things in my life is, and I speak of myself because I can't speak for any of you, and that's trying to outrun or outlive my past failures. People that know about your past hurts and your past failures will constantly remind you of what you've shared with them. That's one thing that some people are very good and consistent in. They may not be consistent in anything else in their lives, but when it comes to reminding you of what you did in the past, they get 5 stars. You have any friends like that? Constantly reminding you of what you used to do. And just when you think that wound has healed it and scabbed over, here they come to rip that scab off and reopen that wound. And it's usually the people that's closest to you. Did you know that you cannot share many of your past sins with an insecure person, especially if you're trying to develop a new relationship with them? They'll say that you can talk to them about anything because they just want to get to know you. And no matter what it is, they'll be able to handle it. Oh, I can handle it. You can tell me anything. That I know for a fact is not true. I have shared some deep secrets locked away in my heart with some people back in the day I was trying to develop a relationship with, only to be backdrafted by their insecurities. If you know anything about fires and how backdrafts work, inside of a house, there could be a blaze building up and no one knows. Now, you'll see the smoke, but don't really know how bad it is until you open a door and all of a sudden, boom, you let in all that fresh air to mingle with all of that pent up pressure and heat. And as a result of that, you have the most devastating combustion blast ever. Insecure people are just like that. When you share some of the intimate parts of your life with them, all of that stuff is just building up on the inside of them. And the moment something triggers an open door, they explode on you, telling you everything you shared with them. But now it's in a way to prove a point. And that's one of the most devastating things you can do in a relationship. They start expressing how they knew you couldn't be trusted because of what you did in your past. Let me say this, and in all fairness, much of what they are dealing with is their own insecurities and past hurts. When I think about it, I think about how I've been hurt plenty of times in my past, all because I trusted that woman at that particular time when I was sharing some of my deepest, darkest secrets in my heart that I had locked away, not knowing that she was a ticking time bomb, just waiting for the hands to strike 12 to explode on me, all because of her past pains and hurts that she had suppressed over the years because somebody hurt her. But I don't allow what I've been through and what I've been hurt by dictate to me how I should treat my wife. Now, when we first got married, there were a lot of things I had to help my wife get over and get past, just like she had to help me get past some things. And she'll be the first to tell you she had trust and abandonment issues. And it was very trying for us in the early beginning because I didn't know what the heck was happening, especially when she would be going through her high monthly hormonal issues. But thanks be to God, we would talk about it. We would have conversations about it. Well, more so, I would bring it up to her and says, hey, what's happening? What's going on? Why are you saying certain things? Why are you treating me this way? And it happened to be once a month, about the time she would have her monthly. So we would talk about it. And when she was going through this and experiencing this, I had to take note. I had to pay attention. Men, we have to pay attention to what's going on with our wives emotionally, because usually it is hormonal, and through much prayer and vitamins, we overcame it. And because of her trust issues and abandonment issues early on, she would talk to me about being tempted by other women. And if I could be a man that could be trusted. And I told her, with what God gave me, by way of an answered prayer, she was the only woman I needed. I had to reassure her. I had to let her know. I had to enforce my love for her. I told her I had and have no desires of wanting anyone else. And because of where I am in God right now in my life, it's something that I keep before God. And that's the difference between today's me and yesterday's me. Yesterday's me, even though I was, quote unquote, a man of God, didn't care about anyone or anything but my flesh. I call it the flesh of David. And everyone was my Bathsheba. Now, today's me, regardless of what people still say from my past, those people that are still lurking in my past, I'm a man that is more determined to please God than my flesh. And if my flesh needs tending to, oh, you best believe, as they say, my wife knows exactly how to minister to it. No one likes to be reminded of what we've been delivered from. But if that's the only witness people have of you, not being who you used to be, then I say let them be that witness. Let them be the ones that talk about what you used to do. Eventually somebody will get it and say, well, that's what they used to do. What are they doing now? No one seems to want to talk about today's me or today's you. They want to dwell on yesterday's me or the yesterday's you. And that's one thing God will never do, is dwell on what was, because he dwells on what is and what will be. I'm so glad that God is not like man, constantly reminding us of what we were delivered from. Wouldn't that be a mess? God be like, hey, no, here you come praying to me again. Didn't I just deliver you from that? I remember when. Yeah, I remember when. But God he won't put that on us. The Bible even talks about being tempted. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. There's nothing that you can overcome with the help of God. Nothing. And 1 Corinthians 6:18 says, flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. And when you are married, the body you're sinning against is that of your spouse. The two of you are one flesh. When I hurt, she hurts. When she hurts, I hurt. When you hurt, she hurts. When she hurts, you should hurt. Why are we going to damage her body? Why am I going to damage my wife's body? I wouldn't do that. This body right here, it's her body. I'm not going to allow anyone to defile her body. This is her body. She's my bodyguard. When you really think about it, when we go somewhere, she's my bodyguard because she's guarding this body right here. You know, I've read a lot of articles on why men cheat on their wives. Most of them are written from a non-Christian point of view, none of which I can say honestly answered the question as to why married men cheat on their wives. Now, they have listed various quote unquote common reasons why married men cheat on their wives. Well, I'm not only going to address why married men cheat on their wives, but I'm actually going to answer the question why married men cheat on their wives. But first, let me share with you a few of the quote unquote common reasons why the world, the natural side, thinks married men cheat on their wives. And then we'll talk about it from a spiritual viewpoint on why married men cheat on their wives. But before I do that, let me share some of the Facebook answers I finally received. Rosemary B says, men cheat for sex, point blank, period. Cheryl C says, men think the grass is greener on the other side. Can't keep their junk in their pants. They forget to keep God first. Tracy C says, could be boredom, loss of communication, fall out of love, money problems, lack of sex, don't serve God. These are some good ones. Antoinette G says, available, excitement, acceptance. Debbie S says, lack of attention at home on both parts. Tracy S says, the thrill of the hunt, thinking they won't get caught, at least for a season. And we all know that cheaters will get caught eventually, guys. All of these are some great answers, and they're very, very valid. And some of these women have experienced the pain of betrayal personally. There really isn't a right or wrong answer to why married men cheat on their wives. There are a lot of reasons as to why married men cheat on their wives. And we'll address that right after this. Welcome back. This is the Malachi and Christine Show. We're talking about why married men cheat on their wives. According to data collected from a recent general social survey conducted by the Institute for Family Studies, based on who are currently married and or who have been married before, in general, the data shows that men are more likely than women to cheat on their spouses. Figures. 20% of men and 13% of women reported that they have had sex with someone other than their spouse while married. What I found very interesting in reading this report is that there is a widening gender gap among older adults. The report says that the gender gap varies by age. It says among the ever married adults ages 18 to 29, women are slightly more likely than men to be guilty of infidelity, 11% versus 10%. It's not a really big margin. But this gap quickly reverses among those ages 30 to 34, and it grows wider in older age groups. The report says infidelity for both men and women increases during their middle ages. Women in their 60s report the highest rate of infidelity, 16%. But the rate goes down sharply among women in their 70s and 80s. I say that They're not looking for anything, really. They're content in their lives. That's just me talking. But by comparison, the infidelity rate among men in their 70s is the highest, 26%. And it remains high among men ages 80 and older, 24%. Thus, the gender gap in cheating peaks among the oldest age group, ages 80 plus, a difference of 18% between men and women. I'm like, what in the world? I can't even begin to visualize this. 80 plus cheating? Really? With whom? But wait. You got to listen to this. Check this out. In the same data, cheating is somewhat more common among black adults. Some 22% of ever married blacks said that they cheated on their spouse, compared with 16% of whites and 13% of Hispanics. And among black men, this right here, this really blew my mind. Among black men, the rate is the highest. 28% reported that they had sex with someone other than their spouse, compared with 20% of white men and 16% of Hispanic men. Why do we always have to be the overachievers in everything we do? This is a statistic I'm really not trying to be ranked among. Matter of fact, I'm not trying to be ranked among it at all. Oh, black men, what's really going on? My brothers, what's happening? Let's talk about some of those quote unquote common reasons why a married man would cheat on his wife. According to Psychology Today, Robert Wise, PhD, has a master's in social work, and he's an expert in the treatment of adult intimacy disorders and related addictions, but most notably sex and porn, relationship addictions, along with co-occurring drug sex addictions. He's a clinical sexologist, and he's a practicing psychotherapist. Now, he says that men's choice to cheat is driven by one or more of the following factors. Let's see if any of these resonate with you. And then we'll come back and discuss each one of these. Number one, immaturity. Number two, co-occurring issues. Number three, insecurity. Number four, it's over, version 1. Number 5, it's over, version 2. Number 6, lack of male social support. Number 7, childhood abuse. Number 8, selfishness. Number 9, terminal uniqueness. Number 10, unrestrained impulse. Number 11, unrealistic expectations. And number 12, anger or revenge. Well, as much as I hate to say this, ladies and gentlemen, because I want you to come back to next week's show. And my dad would say, this is a cliffhanger. Yeah, I'm going to leave you hanging right here because I want you to come back. We're going to stop because the clock on the wall says that's all. I know you're not liking it. I know you're like, oh, no, keep going. No, I want you to come back, because I want these sessions to be no more than about 30 minutes. I don't want to overload your brain with information. I want you to be able to listen to it and gather as much information within 30 minutes as you can, and then come back and let's finish our discussion on why married men really cheat. There's a lot of good information I want to share with you, and we want to discuss these 12 factors as to why men cheat. And here's an important part here. Dr. Wise talks about why men cheat, but our show is why married men cheat. So a lot of the things that he talks about in his study is why men in general cheat. But we're talking about why married men cheat. Even though it's still the same, men cheat, you can see that it's similar because they say men are men. But we're dealing with issues in the marriage, not so much men that are single that are dating other women in their relationship. There's some differences there. Worldly, Christian. This is a Christian show. This is a godly show. This is a spiritual show. And we want to leave it as such. We want to stay within the realm of dealing with, okay, first natural and then spiritual. But when you're in a Christian relationship, those are the issues that we need to address. Why are Christian married men having affairs? What is it? What's drawing them to the world? What's drawing them away from their wife that's supposed to be Christian, that's spiritual, that's godly, and you're in this spiritual relationship and you're cheating? Why? Well, these are the things that we're going to talk about. These are the things that we are going to address. I'm Malachi, and on behalf of my beautiful, lovely wife, bye for now. This concludes another episode of the Malachi and Christine Show. We look forward to spending time with you again real soon. Remember to love God, love yourself, and love others.